Hey everybody, welcome back to G-Dub's Point of View. I am your host G-Dub. We're here for night 3 of the G1 Climax tournament. I know it's been a couple days since the last one, so I appreciate your patience. I just finally got around to finishing the show. I wasn't able to actually catch the show in time, and then between work and school I wasn't able to see it very quickly. So I finished it up last night, and now I'm able to make the video. So tomorrow's night 4, so of course I want to make sure I got this video out before then. I thought the night was really good. There's a couple disappointments that we'll obviously talk about, but nothing really major on the tag match notes, apart from maybe like Sonata getting a referee stoppage in his tag match, which is kind of a new. He doesn't really go for referee stoppages, so it's kind of a new twist in his character, especially with the whole the underlying theme of recent interviews of Sonata. Whenever he in his G1 tournament, he said myself, Evil, and the other guy, referring to Naito. So he's in here with tagging with Naito, and maybe he's doing this more aggressive character. So we'll see how that pans out. I just know that's not really a thing that he does normally, is go for the big referee stoppage. But yeah, we'll jump right into it. So the first match was Michael Elgin versus Page. Of course, Elgin got the win. I thought this match was really good. Page has proven himself to be a big-time player now. Between being pretty good in the Fale match for what it was, and now having a 17-minute great match with Elgin and proving he's on that level is pretty impressive. He did the reverse. He reversed the second rope bomb into a Hurricane Rana, then did the corner drop kick into the second rope neck breaker. It was like, the crowd was getting hot. There was loud chants for him. I was so impressed with how he handled himself, and of course Elgin looked great. It's interesting to see who's leading this division now and who isn't, or who's at the 0 points. So of course Elgin starting out hot with 2-0 is, that happens, especially for a guy like Elgin they really like him over in Japan, and to have him start off, getting 2 big wins early. Of course, he'll fight the bigger names, and he probably won't end with, not losing a single match. But it's a great start for him. He looked really good. But of course, Page is just proving himself to be a big time guy, and to have his next 2 matches are against Okada and Tanahashi. So now now is the big test for him. But if he has any kind of performance like he did tonight, against a guy like Okada, especially against a guy like Tanahashi, with a Japanese crowd, he's gonna be a superstar. So I'm so excited for those 2 matches, because I think he'll finally be able to reach that next level as far as his fame in Japan, because right now he's just kind of seen as this Bullet Club, mid card guy, and maybe this will kind of help, especially because now he's on Kenny's side, on the elite side of things. This will kind of help bring another big superstar into the fold for those guys, because they already have Kenny and Cody, but Cody's not around, so this could be their number 2 singles guy in Hangman, which I'd be so happy to see. But of course, Hangman's got 2 points. He'll probably finish with a decent amount, but he's not going to get a ton. And Elgin could finish probably in the double digits, but he more than likely won't win his block. But their matches going forward are going to be really good, so I'm looking forward to that. It was a really good match tonight, probably my 3rd favorite. The second match was Yoshihashi versus Evil. It was kind of a disappointing match. I think I'm just losing interest in Evil. Again, I thought Yoshihashi did really good again tonight. I think his aggressive side is a good way for him to go. The only thing he needs to cut back on, but I think it's just him as a wrestler, is whenever people, they throw punches and kicks and stuff and they make like a noise. Whenever he throws strikes, it's really loud and long. It's like he holds it out for a second, and then when they do multiple strikes, it's like all you can hear is this like weird scream grunting. I think that's not helping anything, because I want to watch the match on mute, basically. I'm losing interest in Evil, though. He goes up against it proved it tonight, because he had that match with Elgin, which was okay, but it wasn't very good. It wasn't my favorite. Probably my least favorite, or one of the least favorites of I said it was my least favorite of night one. And here he has another one of my least favorite matches. And Page goes out there and has a great match with Elgin, so we know it's not an Elgin thing. And I thought maybe it was the chemistry, but maybe it's Evil. He has his signature spots of doing the chair antics and that sort of thing, but maybe he's just hit a downslope right now as far as his ability in the ring. I personally thought he oversold. There were points where Yoshihashi did, he'd have some good strikes and his chops are really good, but he'd have like some decent forearms, but they're nothing like crazy like he can do, and Evil would like sell him like he just got knocked out. I think it was obviously to sell drama and stuff, but it didn't work. I feel like, and that's weird to say for a bruiser type wrestler like Evil and how usually good he is, to say that he oversold for Yoshihashi. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would like to hear some feedback. And if you guys go back and watch that match, watch some of those strikes that Yoshihashi gives, and watch how Evil sells them, because sometimes he sells them effectively, like especially in their rapid fire striking sequences. He sells them right, and he ends up on top, getting the advantage. And then there's some points where Yoshihashi's kind of got him in a bad predicament, and he hits him with a forearm, and Evil's like he got knocked out, and that shouldn't add up. Like, Yoshihashi should not be able to knock out Evil if you're looking at powers. Now, that should be how he's selling for Michael Elgin, but not for Yoshihashi. So maybe if he would have switched the selling around for these two matches, it would have looked better, because he would have been selling better for Elgin and then being a little more dominant in the Yoshihashi match. But of course, Evil gets the win. He's starting out 1-1, which, Evil's going to get his wins, but he probably won't end up with a ton like he did last year, because he made a big comeback last year. And then Yoshihashi's at 0 points. It wouldn't surprise me if he just had 4 points all tournament, like he did last year, but he'll probably have at least 6, I'd probably say. But yeah, both those, I'm looking forward to the Evil and Okada rematch, and maybe Evil Tanahashi, but other than that, I'm not really looking forward to many of his matches. Yoshihashi, I'd like to see mixed up with the big guys now. I'd like to see his match with Suzuki, but it's gonna be interesting. I don't see much in his favor going forward. Third match, of course, was Makabe and Suzuki. I love this match. This is definitely my second favorite match of the night. This was just incredible. If you guys had never seen their 46th anniversary show match from this year, which is the same show that Okada and Ospreay had their match, please go watch it, because I want to say this match was better, but that match was great, and it was for an intercontinental title match. And this was just as good, if not better. They were beating the living shit out of each other, which was great. Makabe's, Suzuki's like throwing the ref into fans, like he didn't care. Like it was incredible. And then Makabe makes this big, like, it's like a fiery babyface comeback, but he's this big hoss. And they were just beating the crap out of each other. Suzuki, and he's the perfect guy to do it against. They can actually, makes sense that they can go toe to toe with each other. Two older guys in the scene, especially in New Japan, that got that tough grit to them as wrestlers. And Suzuki's the psychopath that he is, and Makabe can match him. It was just perfect. To me, it was really surprising to actually see Makabe get the win after being beaten up for 12 minutes. Makabe was selling half the time like he was knocked out, which I thought was great. And constantly, I think it was either Marty Sami, was constantly in there making sure like he didn't have to call it, like to make that's really good selling. And for him to make that comeback at the very end and get the big knee drop for the win was great. Now he's at the top with Elgin, which is great to see, because I thought there was no way he'd start off 2-0. It's just been, or if Yoshihashi and Suzuki, 1-1's probably what I did predict, and to see him start 2-0 is great. I'm looking forward to his matches with the big guys like Tanahashi and Okada. His match with Fale would be fun. I think Jay White could get a good match out of him. Page could get a great match out of him. Elgin and Makabe are going to beat each other up. Like, seeing Makabe's run this year it's not gonna be anything like the Nagata run from last year, but he could have something similar where he could have just a great run. And Suzuki's had these great matches now between Tanahashi and Makabe to start off the tournament, and he's gonna have big matches with Okada, White, and and Page that he's gonna have another tournament for the record books for sure. I'd love to see him make a huge run and get close to getting to the finals, but it more than likely won't happen. But to see Suzuki out there just doing his thing and continuing on his great years is fun to see. So please check this match out from tonight. If you don't watch any other match, actually, this is my second favorite. But if you don't watch any other match, please watch this one. It's so fun to hear especially the English commentaries, hear their reactions, to see Suzuki just throwing people left and right, throwing the ref into the fans. Like, it's just a crazy match, and it's so much fun. So please, if you want to be just entertained by a match, please watch this one. The semifinal of the night was Okada versus Fale. I fucked up. I think I had originally predicted Okada to beat, or I had originally predicted Fale to beat Okada and changed it at the last minute. And of course, Fale beats him. This probably was my fourth favorite match of the night. It probably was my second least favorite. It was a 13-minute match. Okada comes out doing his weird stuff. They have that great dynamic that they did in their match last year, their big title match, where Fale's just overpowering and Okada's got to be the smaller, underdog babyface. But I don't know, the antics, they are like traditional Bullet Club, with you have Loa doing all the interference, and then you get the distraction at the end, and then Tama Tonga runs out of nowhere and hits a gun stun into a bad luck fall. It's classic BC, Bullet Club OG shit. But I don't know, I don't like it in the G1. I think for just normal matches, and maybe this is the right place to do it, but personally I don't like to have those in the G1. They already did it once with the DQ, so to have it 2 nights in a row, and there's no telling how many more matches they're going to do where they have disqualification is going to be, I don't know, I don't like it. I think Fale's lost the shape too. He's lost. He dropped 40-50 pounds. He's in shape to wrestle a real match. So to see them just constantly revert, I know they're trying to tell a story, so I can't be too upset with it. But to see them constantly just rely on the disqualification aspect and all the shenanigans aspects is kind of boring to me. Of course, Okada starts off 0-2, which is kind of wild. I don't see. Well, he faces Page next, which, shit, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me to see Page win. I don't think he will. I have Okada predicted to win. I think I have Okada predicted to win. Yeah, I had Okada losing to Jay White, beating Fale, losing to Page to start 1-2, and then winning the last 6 matches to win the block. But now starting 0-2, he's going to have to win the next 7 to get 14 points. It's possible they really just, Gato has this super plan for him where he does something just ridiculous, and does win the next 7, or he doesn't make the final. I don't see a way you have the Wrestle Kingdom main event without Okada at this point. And the title holder's not in his block. He has to, he's not going to get a title shot any way, other way than maybe, if someone wins the briefcase, like a Zack Sabre Jr., and challenges Kenny, like he said in the UK this fall, and loses, and Kenny's freed up for Tokyo Dome and has to name his own challenger, and he names Okada. But to me, he has to be in the Wrestle Kingdom main event, and he has to win the G1 to do that. And this is just a tough path. But he could easily, start that by beating Page. I'm so looking forward to that match, and we'll really know for sure what path Okada's going to take after that match. So yeah, I still think this is my 4th favorite. I would like to see a more real match, if you want to call it that. But to have, so many antics and everything just kind of brought it down, and the fact that Page and Elgin delivered better than I thought they would, and Makabe and Suzuki having one of the most fun matches I've seen in a while, puts this down at fourth for me. Now we get to the main event, which is Tanahashi and Jay White. I luckily had this predicted correctly. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was thinking correctly. That I had Jay White going over Tanahashi. This was my favorite of the night. If you're going on pure entertainment standpoint, this was not the best one, for sure. Makabe Suzuki is the best match of the night to watch. But from a tournament storytelling perspective and a kind of, establishment of a new star, this is my favorite. They told the story essentially of how they were doing the Okada match, of Jay's doing all these underhanded tactics. Of course, he's doing more here because it's a guy that he is having a revenge match against from Wrestle Kingdom, and he kind of is disrespecting the old guard, and Tanahashi's trying to protect it and protect his veteran status. Tanahashi's got the bum knee from the Suzuki match, so Jay White attacks it, which is great continuity, which is something that's great about New Japan. They love to have continuity in their storytelling, especially for a tournament like this. He's doing all the cheap moves, and then of course it gets towards the end, and they're all the ref antics, and Jay hits Tanahashi with a low blow, and then the ref gets distracted again, and Tanahashi hits Jay White with a low blow, and they're just trading stuff back and forth, and eventually Tanahashi's going up for a high fly flow, and Jay gets up, stumbles, grabs Red Shoes, throws him into the corner, makes Tanahashi low blow himself on the turnbuckle, and then he gets off and he throws the chair in his face, and that clanked him right in the head, and then hits Blade Runner for the pin. Man, you want to talk about a guy that's getting some heat. Someone had pointed it out, but I don't think someone had said maybe he's getting go away heat. I don't see it personally, because you have to understand Tanahashi's role in New Japan, which is this. He is still seen as this untouchable god, in the sense of New Japan. There's people that still cry at his, when he's in pain, and they cry at his losses, and they'll boo anybody against him. He is so beloved. So when you see Jay White get the pin, you look up and there's so many people leaving the stands instantly. I don't think it comes with go away heat. I think it just comes with people just not wanting to see Tanahashi lose. Especially to a guy that's cheating the whole time and doing every cheap trick in the book. So I don't believe it's go away heat. I think he's just doing an insanely exceptional job right now. Themselves as well, the people in charge of putting those matches together with him, which obviously is him, his opponent, and I'm assuming Gato's involved in it somehow. Maybe not, though. Maybe it's just those two and they just know a result. But I feel like Gato, especially for Jay White, has a hand in some of this, because they're able to hide maybe some of his weaknesses in the ring with these antics, which I think is perfect, and it's something you don't even realize until I'm talking about it. You really analyze things. Is whenever you look at developing a new talent, especially if you look at an NXT or something, they do a really good job of when they're first creating someone and getting them started in the ring. Is okay, what are your strengths? Okay, well those will be your main focus, and then we'll kind of hide your weaknesses, and that'll be that. Ricochet's a great example right now. He doesn't get much mic time, which is a weakness, because if you actually hear him on a mic, he doesn't sound great. Not very convincing. I mean, if you watch him on Lucha Underground, he still wasn't very convincing, which is a big part of the storytelling in that show, is how the wrestlers interact, and he wasn't very good. And so in NXT, they don't have him talk much. They just have all his flips and all of his action do the work, do the talking for him, which is perfect. I think they're doing the same thing with Jay White here, where Jay is a great wrestler. I've seen him wrestle live when he was on his excursion in Ring of Honor. He's a great wrestler. If you watch some of his highlights now of when he was on excursion in Ring of Honor and at the G1 special last year when he came back for a one night special, he's got a lot of fiery offense, but they're not letting him use it here because he's a heel. He doesn't do a lot of the high flying stuff he used to do, and so because of that, he might not be as technically sound as a guy like a a Kenny Omega or any of the big pillars or any of the big names in New Japan. He might not be as technically sound. So they're hiding that as of right now while he's still developing, because he's a young kid. He's still 25, right? Somewhere in there. He's still so young and has such a long way ahead of him. To hide him, and it's just coming off of excursion for, 6 months in, 7 months in. I think that they're doing a really good job of throwing these antics in there, because he can't perform a full, instant classic kind of technical match that New Japan's known for. So to have all this, and it's a brilliant way of pushing him as this big heel, is that Japan is very they're very into rules, and even when Jay throws someone back in the ring, instead of taking a count out, like, they still clap for him because he's being he's showing sportsmanship, which is something you'll hear in all the matches. But so he gets clapped for that, for being a sports, or, for showing sportsmanship. But he's also a gigantic heel, and so he needs to do the barricade spots and the chair spots and the low blows and the roll ups and all the secret attacks. That he's gonna be a big heel, and it's allowed them to develop his character and still hide him while he's developing. Maybe hide the little critiques that maybe the little things that he still needs to work on and fix, that'll make him a perfect gaijin for them in the future, because that's what they're pushing him as. But overall, I thought the match was really good. It definitely was my favorite of the night because of what I said, of how they're establishing Jay White as this future superstar. Now, he has now beat Omega, Tanahashi, and Okada, pinned them, maybe not necessarily clean, but he's pinned all three of them in 1 year, in the span of less than 6 months, because that was at the end of January when that happened. And he's had 2 matches against Tanahashi, one at Wrestle Kingdom for a singles title. Like, he's a big deal to them. And so I'm glad that they're taking this slow approach to him, where they're giving him this big heel establishment, but they understand that he's not the world's best wrestler right now. He might not ever be, but they understand he's not where he needs to be right now, and they're willing to work on his matches to hide the little things with some antics, while he still is developing himself as a wrestler. So I can't complain at all about the booking. Of course, we have Jay White, Makabe, and Elgin are leading the division at 2-0. They all have 4 points. And then the low bracket has Kazuchika Okada, Minoru Suzuki, and Yoshihashi at 0 points. It's incredible to see something like that. And everyone else is at 1-1. It's pretty wild to see 2 of your top 5 stars in Okada and Suzuki, the 5 leaders of the factions, and Yoshihashi in the 0 point bracket. It's so interesting to see. Of course, we have tomorrow night, which is being headlined by the rematch of the G126 finals of Kenny Omega and Hiroki Goto. From what I can tell, their tag interactions and their post-match comments, they're ready to show out tomorrow. It's going to be a fun show. And then Ishii Naito, which is they've had a lot of great matches before. Did they have a briefcase match? Yes, they did. They had a briefcase match. That was phenomenal. So it's a rematch from last year. So it's gonna be a great show again. And then of course Friday we get Paige and Okada, which is gonna be great. And I think on Saturday we get Kenny Omega and Tama Tonga. I forget who is main eventing that show. Is it? Actually, let me check real quick. Is it? It might be. Who I think it is. Oh, Goto and Ishii. They might main event. Because right now I think the schedule was put out before all the big storylines kicked in. So it's very possible that Kenny and Tama will main event that show. And then Sunday is Okada and Okada Makabe. Be a fun match. And then Tanahashi Page. Oh man, that's gonna be a tough card. With the last 3 matches with Jay White, Suzuki, Tanahashi Page, and Makabe Okada, we got a great 4 days of G1 coming up. So thank you guys for watching. If you've made it to this point, I know I've been a little late on this one, and I'm going to try and stay on top of the other ones. I might end up doing combo shows where I'll do maybe day 4, because it's 4 days in a row. I might do a day 4 and 5 combo video, and then a day 6 and 7 combo video. So I'm thinking about doing that, but I haven't decided yet. So, but you guys will definitely see me this weekend at some point with a video. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.